Most people want the image of success before they build the foundation for it. They want the expensive lifestyle, the recognition, the applause, the validation. But the truth is, appearances can fool the world while your habits quietly destroy your future. Real wealth does not begin with money. It begins with the way you think when nobody is watching. The dangerous thing about modern culture is that it teaches people to perform success instead of becoming successful. People spend money trying to look important, while ignoring the discipline that actually creates importance. They chase symbols instead of substance, and eventually reality exposes every false image. Thinking rich is different. It means understanding that value matters more than visibility. It means knowing that a quiet investment in yourself today can create freedom for decades tomorrow. Rich thinking does not need instant applause because it understands timing. A seed buried underground looks invisible before it becomes unstoppable. A person with a poor mindset asks, "How can I impress people now?" A person with a wealthy mindset asks, "How can I build something meaningful that lasts?" That single shift changes everything. Because one mindset spends to escape insecurity while the other sacrifices to create opportunity. The wealthiest people in any room are often the calmest people in the room. They do not need constant validation because their confidence comes from preparation. They understand that money is attracted to discipline, clarity, consistency, and trust. Not noise, not showing off, not pretending. Thinking rich means learning to delay gratification. It means saying no to temporary comfort so you can say yes to long-term freedom. It means making decisions today that your future self will thank you for. Most people stay trapped because they are addicted to immediate pleasure. They want rewards without endurance. But success has always respected patience. Your mindset shapes your financial. The future long before your income changes. If you cannot manage small responsibilities, bigger opportunities will only create bigger problems. Wealth amplifies who you already are. If your thinking is chaotic, more money will create more chaos. If your thinking is disciplined, even small opportunities can multiply into greatness. There is power in building quietly. The strongest foundations are built out of sight. Nobody applauds the early mornings. Nobody celebrates the lonely sacrifices. Nobody notices the nights spent learning, improving, and growing. But eventually, those invisible decisions create visible results that people call success. The truth is, rich thinking is not about luxury. It is about ownership. Ownership of your habits. Ownership of your emotions. Ownership of your future. Because the moment you stop blaming circumstances and start developing yourself, your life begins to change. Do not measure your worth by what you can display. Measure it by what you can sustain. Anyone can buy attention for a moment. Very few people can build respect that lasts for years. And respect always has deeper roots than appearance. A powerful life is built from internal strength before external rewards. The person who learns discipline before money will protect wealth when it arrives. The person who develops character before success will survive pressure when success grows. This is why mindset matters more than image. Think rich before you look rich. Build before you boast. Learn before you lead. Grow before you glow. Because the people who win in the long run are not the ones obsessed with appearing successful. They are the ones committed to becoming valuable. And one day, while others are still trying to look rich, you will have built a life that no longer needs to pretend. Most people believe wealth begins the moment money enters their bank account, but real wealth starts much earlier than that. It begins in the privacy of the mind, in the unseen decisions a person makes long before the world notices any visible success. Researchers studying long-term achievement repeatedly discovered that people who eventually create financial freedom often display disciplined thinking patterns years before their income changes. Their mindset shifts first, then their habits, then their environment, and finally their financial reality follows behind. This is why two people can stand in the same situation with the same opportunities, yet one slowly builds a future while the other remains trapped in survival. The mind acts like a blueprint for every financial outcome. A person who constantly thinks in terms of limitation begins to behave cautiously, emotionally, and impulsively. They seek temporary comfort because they cannot clearly see a future bigger than their present frustration. But a person who develops a wealthy mindset starts thinking differently before they possess any visible success. They begin asking better questions. They focus on growth instead of blame. They stop chasing quick rewards and start building long-term value. That shift may appear invisible at first, But invisible changes always create visible results over time. Studies on human behavior consistently reveal that delayed gratification is one of the strongest predictors of future success. The people capable of controlling impulses today are often the same people capable of creating stability tomorrow. This is because wealth is not simply about earning money. It is about managing emotion, resisting distraction, and maintaining vision under pressure. Many people lose opportunities not because they lack intelligence, but because they lack emotional discipline. They react emotionally to temporary circumstances instead of responding strategically to long-term goals. A wealthy mindset also changes how a person sees failure. Most people experience setbacks and immediately connect them to identity. They fought ill once and begin believing they are failures. But people who eventually succeed financially often interpret failure differently. They see mistakes as information. They treat obstacles as training. They understand that growth requires discomfort. This mental resilience becomes one of the greatest hidden advantages in life because the ability to continue under pressure separates dreamers from builders. Another powerful truth is that wealthy thinking influences daily habits before it influences income. A person who thinks rich values learning even when nobody rewards it. They read when others scroll endlessly. They improve skills while others waste time comparing lifestyles online. They understand that knowledge compounds quietly before results become visible publicly. Every hour invested in growth becomes a seed planted for future opportunity. Most people underestimate how dramatically small disciplined actions can transform an entire life over several years. The world often celebrates visible luxury while ignoring invisible preparation. Expensive cars, designer clothing, and public attention create the illusion of wealth, but true financial strength is usually built in silence. Many financially successful people spent years living below their means while investing in knowledge, relationships, and opportunity. They understood something many people ignore. Appearing rich and becoming wealthy are completely different paths. One seeks admiration, the other builds freedom. Thinking rich also requires learning how to separate self-worth from possessions. A person who needs external validation will often spend emotionally instead of strategically. They purchase symbols to feel important because their identity depends on appearance. But someone with a wealthy mindset understands that confidence built on possessions is fragile. Real confidence comes from capability, discipline, and purpose. When your value comes from who you are becoming rather than what you display, your decisions become wiser and your future becomes stronger. Every great transformation begins internally before it appears externally. The farmer understands that roots must grow underground before fruit can appear above the surface. Human success works the same way. The habits nobody applauds eventually create the opportunities everybody notices. The discipline practiced in private eventually creates results impossible to ignore. Wealth begins in the mind because every financial decision first passes through thought, belief, and perception before it ever reaches reality. Long before the lifestyle changes, the mindset changes. Long before the applause arrives, the discipline begins. Long before success becomes visible, the foundation is already being built in silence. In a world obsessed with visibility, many people confuse attention with success. They believe being noticed is the same as being valuable. Attention is temporary while value has lasting power. Studies on consumer behavior and social psychology repeatedly show that people are increasingly driven by external validation, often making emotional decisions simply to gain approval from others. This constant need for recognition creates a dangerous cycle where appearance becomes more important than substance. Poor thinking thrives in this environment because it teaches people to chase reactions instead of results. A poor mindset constantly asks, "How can I get people to notice me?" A wealthy mindset asks, "How can I become useful enough that my work speaks for itself?" That difference changes the direction of an entire life. One path creates dependency on applause, while the other creates independence through contribution. People trapped in attention-seeking behavior often focus on instant gratification because attention gives quick emotional rewards. A compliment, a like, a reaction, or public praise creates a temporary feeling of importance. But temporary emotional highs cannot replace long-term fulfillment. The problem with chasing attention is that it forces people to perform instead of develop. They spend more energy trying to appear successful than becoming capable. They invest in image before building identity. This is why many people look confident publicly while privately struggling with insecurity, confusion, and lack of purpose. Their confidence depends on how others respond to them. The moment attention disappears, their sense of worth begins collapsing. Value-driven thinking works differently. It focuses on growth, contribution, discipline, and mastery. A person building value understands that respect earned through substance lasts longer than admiration earned through appearance. They know that skills create opportunities while popularity often fades. Every successful industry rewards value eventually because real problems require real solutions. The people who consistently grow are not always grow. They are the loudest people in the room. Often they are the quietest learners, the disciplined workers, and the patient builders. Research into high-performing individuals consistently reveals that long-term success is strongly connected to deliberate practice and meaningful contribution rather than public recognition. People who focus deeply on improving their craft often outperform those distracted by constant comparison. This happens because attention-seeking divides focus while value-building sharpens it. One mindset reacts to the crowd while the other remains committed to purpose, regardless of who is watching. Social media intensified this struggle dramatically. Many people now measure progress through visibility instead of development. They compare lifestyles, followers, and appearances while neglecting the habits that create real growth. Poor thinking spends money to look important. Rich thinking invests time to become important. One creates debt and insecurity while the other creates opportunity and freedom. This is why some people remain trapped even while appearing successful from the outside. Their entire identity depends on maintaining an illusion. People who build lasting success understand the importance of patience. They know value compounds quietly. Knowledge compounds, discipline compounds, reputation compounds, trust compounds. None of these produce instant applause, but over time they create influence that cannot be easily replaced. A person who builds genuine value becomes difficult to ignore because their contribution solves problems, creates impact, and improves lives. Attention may attract people briefly, but value keeps doors open for years. Another danger of chasing attention is that it encourages imitation instead of originality. People begin copying trends simply because they want approval. They stop asking themselves what truly matters and start asking what will impress others. This week, NS creativity and disconnects individuals from their deeper purpose. But people focused on value are willing to think differently. They are willing to work quietly without immediate recognition because they understand that meaningful growth often happens before anyone notices. The strongest people are rarely controlled by public opinion. They are guided by vision. They understand that building character matters more than building an image. Character creates consistency while image constantly changes depending on the audience. This is why rich thinking prioritizes integrity, discipline, and contribution over popularity. It seeks to leave an impact instead of creating noise. In the end, attention fades quickly when there is no substance underneath it. But value continues growing because people will always search for wisdom, leadership, solutions, and trust. Poor thinking chases the spotlight for a moment. Rich thinking builds something meaningful that continues shining long after the A. Paparazzi disappears. Financial freedom is often imagined as a moment when money finally removes stress, creates comfort, and unlocks opportunity. But the truth is that freedom does not begin when money arrives. It begins when discipline takes control of a person's life. Research on financial behavior consistently shows that long-term wealth is less connected to income level and more connected to daily habits, emotional control, and decision-making patterns. Many people earn large amounts of money yet remain trapped in chaos because discipline never became part of their character. Others begin with very little but slowly create stability because their habits prepare them for growth long before success becomes visible. Discipline is powerful because it teaches a person how to manage themselves before they are trusted with greater responsibility. Money only amplifies existing behavior. If someone lacks patience, more money increases impulsiveness. If someone lacks self-control, more money creates larger mistakes. This is why many people experience temporary success but cannot sustain it. They pursued wealth without first developing the mindset required to protect it. Financial freedom is not simply about possession. It is about stewardship. It is about becoming the type of person capable of handling opportunity wisely. A disciplined person understands the value of delayed gratification. While others chase immediate comfort, they focus on long-term rewards. Studies on human behavior repeatedly found that individuals capable of resisting short-term temptation are often more successful across multiple areas of life, including finances, relationships, and career growth. This happens because discipline strengthens decision-making under pressure. Instead of reacting emotionally, disciplined people act intentionally. They understand that small sacrifices today can create enormous freedom tomorrow. Discipline also creates consistency, and consistency changes everything. Most people fail financially not because they never had opportunities, but because their efforts were inconsistent. Motivation rises and falls based on emotion, but discipline continues regardless of mood. A disciplined person saves when others overspend. They learn while others procrastinate. They invest in growth while others seek distraction. Over time, these small repeated actions produce dramatic results that appear sudden to outsiders even though they were built slowly through years of unseen commitment. The modern world constantly promotes comfort and instant gratification. Advertisements encourage emotional spending. Social media creates pressure to display success before it exists. Many people begin making financial decisions based on appearance rather than purpose. They buy symbols of wealth instead of building actual stability. This creates a dangerous cycle where external image becomes more important than internal progress. Discipline breaks this cycle because it teaches a person to separate desire from necessity. It develops the ability to say no even when temptation feels powerful. One of the greatest benefits of discipline is that it builds trust in yourself. Every time a person keeps a promise to themselves, their confidence grows stronger. Confidence built through discipline is different from confidence built through attention or praise. External validation disappears quickly, but self-respect earned through consistency creates lasting strength. A disciplined person does not need constant motivation because their identity becomes connected to responsibility and growth. They understand that freedom is earned through repeated choices, not sudden luck. Discipline also changes how people use time. Undisciplined individuals often waste enormous amounts of energy reacting to distractions, entertainment, and emotional impulses. Disciplined individuals understand that time is one of the most valuable assets they possess. They use quiet moments to learn, improve, and prepare. They recognize that skills developed today can create opportunities years later. While others wait for motivation, disciplined people continue building. Financial freedom is deeply connected to emotional maturity. Many financial problems begin emotionally before they become practical. Fear creates hesitation. Impulsiveness creates debt. Envy creates reckless spending. Discipline strengthens emotional stability by teaching people how to remain focused despite temporary feelings. This emotional control becomes a hidden advantage because clear thinking produces better long-term decisions. Another important truth is that discipline creates freedom gradually. At first, discipline feels restrictive because it requires sacrifice. It demands patience when others seek comfort. It demands focus when distractions are everywhere. But over time, discipline produces options. Savings create security. Skills create opportunity. Strong habits create independence. Eventually, the very behaviors that once felt difficult become the reason a person gains control over their future. The people who achieve lasting financial success usually understand something many others ignore. Wealth is not created in moments of excitement. It is created in ordinary days through repeated disciplined actions nobody applauds. The early mornings, the wise decisions, the consistent learning, and the quiet sacrifices slowly build a foundation strong enough to support future success. Before money ever arrives, discipline already begins shaping the life capable of sustaining it. Many people judge success by looking at someone's current financial situation, but money only shows where a person is today. Habits reveal where that person is heading tomorrow. Research in behavioral psychology consistently demonstrates that repeated daily actions shape long-term outcomes more powerfully than occasional effort or temporary circumstance. A bank account can rise or fall quickly because of opportunity, luck, or crisis, but habits quietly determine whether success grows, survives, or disappears over time. This is why two people with the same income can build completely different futures depending on the routines guiding their lives every single day. Habits are powerful because they operate even when motivation disappears. Most people rely too heavily on emotion to guide their decisions. They work hard only when inspired, save money only when convenient, and focus only when pressure becomes unavoidable. But habits create structure that continues regardless of feelings. A person with strong habits keeps moving forward even during difficult seasons because consistency becomes part of their identity. This steady progress often appears small in the beginning, yet over time it produces life-changing results. Financial success rarely happens through dramatic moments alone. It is usually the product of repeated behaviors practiced, set over months and years. A person who constantly spends impulsively, avoids responsibility, and seeks instant gratification may temporarily appear successful, but their habits are quietly shaping a fragile future. On the other hand, someone earning a modest income while consistently learning, saving, planning, and improving is often building stability that will grow stronger over time. The outside world sees current conditions while habits reveal future direction. Studies on long-term achievement repeatedly show that successful individuals tend to share similar behavioral patterns. They manage time intentionally. They prioritize growth over entertainment. They maintain routines that improve physical, emotional, and mental discipline. These actions may seem ordinary individually, but together they create momentum. The compound effect of disciplined habits becomes enormous over several years. Small, repeated actions eventually separate extraordinary lives from average ones. One reason? Habits matter so much because they shape thinking itself. A person who repeatedly chooses distraction trains the mind to avoid focus. A person who repeatedly avoids responsibility trains the mind to escape discomfort. Eventually, these patterns become automatic. In the same way, someone who consistently practices discipline strengthens patience, resilience, and emotional control. Their mind becomes prepared for greater opportunity because their habits already train them to handle pressure wisely. Modern culture often encourages people to focus on appearances rather than patterns. Social media displays lifestyles without revealing the habits behind them. Many people compare visible results while ignoring invisible discipline. They want the outcome without developing the routines required to sustain it. This creates frustration because success built without strong habits rarely lasts. The world notices achievement publicly, but the daily behaviors responsible for that achievement under you usually remain hidden. Another important truth is that habits reveal priorities more honestly than words. People often speak about goals, dreams, and ambitions, yet their routines expose what truly controls their lives. A person may say they want financial freedom, but if their habits are filled with procrastination, emotional spending, and endless distraction, their actions are moving them toward limitation instead of growth. Habits never lie because they show what a person repeatedly chooses when nobody is watching. The future is shaped gradually through ordinary decisions. Every hour spent learning instead of wasting time becomes an investment in future capability. Every disciplined financial decision becomes a step toward greater stability. Every promise kept to yourself strengthens self-respect and confidence. These changes often feel invisible in the beginning because habits work slowly. But slow growth is still growth, and over time the results become impossible to ignore. People who build meaningful success understand the importance of protecting their routines. They recognize that discipline creates freedom while chaos creates stress. They do not wait for perfect conditions before improving themselves. They focus on controlling daily actions because daily actions eventually control destiny. This mindset allows them to continue progressing even when circumstances are difficult. A strong future is rarely built through occasional bursts of effort. It is built through repeated disciplined choices made consistently over time. The habits practiced in private eventually become the reality experienced in public. This is why someone's routines often reveal more about their future than their current financial position ever could. Your bank account may describe your present situation, but your habits are quietly writing the story of your future every single day. Many people spend their lives trying to look confident instead of becoming confident. They believe company. Confidence comes from expensive possessions, public recognition, social status, or external success. But possessions can disappear, applause can fade, and status can change overnight. Real confidence is deeper than appearance because it is built on purpose. Studies in psychology consistently reveal that people with a strong sense of purpose demonstrate greater resilience, emotional stability, and long-term fulfillment than those driven mainly by material rewards. This happens because purpose creates internal direction, while possessions only create temporary emotional stimulation. A person without purpose often depends on external validation to feel valuable. They chase attention, approval, and admiration because their identity is built on how others perceive them. This creates fragile confidence. The moment criticism appears or comparison begins, insecurity grows stronger. Many people buy things not because they truly need them, but because they hope those possessions will make them feel important. Yet emotional emptiness cannot be permanently filled by material success. Temporary excitement fades quickly when identity lacks deeper meaning. Purpose changes the way a person sees themselves. Instead of asking, "How do I impress people?" they begin asking, "How do I contribute something meaningful?" That shift transforms confidence completely. A purpose-driven person gains strength from progress, growth, discipline, and impact rather than public opinion. Their confidence is not attached to trends or appearances because it comes from knowing why they wake up every morning. They understand that value is created through service, responsibility, and commitment rather than display. Research on human fulfillment repeatedly shows that people pursuing meaningful goals experience higher levels of motivation and endurance under pressure. Purpose gives suffering direction. It gives discipline meaning. A person with purpose can survive difficult seasons because they believe that effort matters. Without purpose, even small obstacles feel overwhelming because there is no deeper reason to continue. This is why purpose-driven individuals often display calm determination during challenges, while others collapse emotionally under pressure. Possessions create comparison, while purpose creates clarity. When identity is built on material success, people constantly compare themselves to others. There will always be someone richer, more popular, or more admired. Comparison becomes endless because external validation has no finish line. But purpose-centered people focus less on competing and more on becoming. Their energy moves toward growth instead of jealousy. They measure progress by internal development rather than public approval. Modern culture constantly promotes the illusion that confidence can be purchased. Advertisements suggest that success is visible through luxury, fashion, technology, or lifestyle. Social media strengthens this illusion by rewarding appearance more than character. Many people now perform confidence publicly while privately struggling with insecurity and fear. The pressure to maintain an image becomes exhausting because appearances require constant maintenance. Purpose, however, creates stability because it is rooted internally rather than externally. Real confidence is often quiet. It does not need to constantly prove itself because it is grounded in self-respect. A purpose-driven person understands that growth takes time. They are willing to work in silence because they know lasting success is built privately before it becomes visible publicly. Their confidence grows each time they keep promises to themselves, improve their skills, and remain committed during difficult moments. This type of confidence cannot be purchased because it is earned through consistency and meaning. Purpose also changes how people handle failure. Someone whose identity depends on posse. Seasons may feel destroyed when success disappears, but someone grounded in purpose sees setbacks differently. They understand that failure is part of growth rather than proof of worthlessness. Their mission remains stronger than temporary disappointment. This resilience becomes one of the greatest hidden strengths in life because the ability to continue after setbacks often determines long-term success. Another powerful truth is that purpose creates influence far beyond material success. People are naturally drawn toward individuals who live with clarity, conviction, and authenticity. A person who genuinely believes in something greater than themselves often inspires trust and respect without demanding attention. Their confidence feels real because it is connected to values rather than vanity. At the end of life, possessions lose their power. Titles fade. Trends disappear. Applause becomes distant memory. But purpose leaves impact. Purpose shapes lives, builds legacy, and creates meaning. Meaning that survives beyond temporary success. This is why real confidence can never depend entirely on material things. Material success may decorate a life, but purpose gives that life direction. Real confidence comes from knowing who you are, why you exist, and what you are building even when nobody is watching. Many people spend years trying to impress others without realizing that the constant need for approval quietly destroys their potential. They buy things they cannot afford, chase lifestyles they cannot sustain, and make decisions based on appearance rather than purpose. Studies in behavioral finance consistently reveal that emotional spending and social comparison are major reasons people remain financially and mentally trapped even when opportunities exist around them. Poor thinking focuses on looking successful in the present moment, while rich thinking focuses on becoming valuable for the future. One mindset seeks applause. The other seeks growth. Thinking rich begins understanding that personal development creates opportunities that temporary attention never can. Skills, discipline, emotional intelligence, and knowledge continue producing value long after public admiration fades. A person focused on impressing others often sacrifices long-term progress for short-term validation. They choose comfort over improvement because improvement usually requires patience, humility, and consistent effort. Growth is often invisible in the beginning, which makes it difficult for people addicted to immediate recognition. A growth-focused mindset changes the way a person uses time, money, and energy. Instead of spending resources trying to appear important, they invest in becoming capable. They read while others scroll endlessly through distractions. They learn new skills while others compete for attention online. They spend time improving their thinking instead of constantly proving themselves to people who may never truly matter in their future. This difference may seem small daily, but over several years it creates completely different lives. Research on long-term achievement repeatedly shows that successful individuals often prioritize learning and delayed gratification over social approval. They understand that knowledge compounds, discipline compounds, relationships compound, experience compounds. Every investment made in personal growth eventually creates opportunities impossible to achieve through appearance alone. Many people underestimate how dramatically small daily improvements can transform confidence, income, and influence over time. The desire to impress people usually comes from insecurity. When identity depends on external validation, people begin performing instead of developing. Their confidence rises and falls based on reactions from others. This creates emotional instability because public opinion constantly changes. A person who lives for approval becomes controlled by comparison. They begin measuring the IR worth through likes, status, possessions, and attention instead of character, growth, and purpose. Rich thinking breaks this cycle by shifting focus inward. Instead of asking, "How do I look successful?" a growth-focused person asks, "How do I become stronger, wiser, and more valuable?" That question creates transformation because it places responsibility back into personal action. Growth becomes the priority instead of performance. The individual begins understanding that true success is built privately long before it becomes visible publicly. Another powerful truth is that investing in growth requires sacrifice many people avoid. Growth demands discomfort. It demands patience when progress feels slow. It demands discipline when distractions feel easier. Most people quit because they want visible rewards before invisible foundations are fully built. But meaningful success always requires seasons of preparation that nobody applauds. The strongest people continue improving even when end recognition is absent because they understand that lasting rewards are created through consistent effort over time. Modern culture often encourages performance over substance. Social media rewards visibility more than wisdom. Many people now feel pressure to constantly display achievement even while privately struggling with insecurity and confusion. This creates a dangerous illusion where appearing successful becomes more important than becoming successful. But appearance without substance eventually collapses because empty image cannot sustain real pressure. A person investing in growth develops something much stronger than temporary popularity. They build capability. Capability creates confidence because it is rooted in preparation rather than attention. When challenges appear, capable people remain calmer because they trust the skills and discipline they spent years developing. Their strength isn't attention to depend on public praise because it was built through quiet consistency. TH-focused individuals also understand the importance of long-term thinking. They recognize that small discipline actions repeated daily can completely change the direction of a life. One book read consistently over time can transform perspective. One skill practiced regularly can create financial freedom. One disciplined habit can strengthen identity and self-respect. These changes rarely happen overnight, but they create powerful momentum that compounds year after year. The people who eventually build meaningful success are usually not obsessed with impressing everyone around them. They are focused on becoming better than they were yesterday. Their energy goes into learning, building, improving, and contributing rather than constantly seeking approval. This mindset creates stability because growth remains within personal control even when external circumstances become difficult. In the end, people may briefly admire appearances, but lasting respect is always earned through value. Attention fades quickly when there is no substance behind it. Growth, however, continues producing opportunities, confidence, and impact long after trends disappear. Thinking rich means understanding that the greatest investment you can ever make is not in your image, but in the person you are becoming every single day. Most people underestimate the power of patience because modern culture trains individuals to expect immediate results. Everything moves fast. Information arrives instantly, entertainment appears instantly, and people begin believing success should happen instantly too. But studies on long-term achievement repeatedly reveal that many highly successful individuals share one uncommon trait: the ability to remain committed for long periods without immediate reward. Patience becomes a hidden advantage because it allows a person to continue building while others quit from frustration, distraction, or emotional exhaustion. Impatience destroys potential in ways many people need or recognize. A person starts learning a skill but gives up because progress feels slow. Someone begins building a business but quits because recognition does not come quickly enough. Another person abandons discipline because results are not visible after a short period of effort. The problem is not always lack of talent. Often the problem is lack of endurance. Many people stop before growth has enough time to compound into visible success. Patience changes how people respond to difficulty. An impatient mindset views obstacles as signs to quit, while a patient mindset sees obstacles as part of the process. This difference creates enormous separation over time. Successful individuals understand that meaningful growth often happens beneath the surface before visible breakthroughs appear. Just like roots grow underground before a tree becomes visible, personal growth develops quietly before the world notices external success. Research in psychology and behavioral science consistently connects delayed gratification with long-term achievement. People capable of sacrificing temporary comfort for future rewards tend to make wiser decisions financially, emotionally, and professionally. Patience strengthens discipline because it teaches the mind to focus on long-term outcomes rather than immediate emotional satisfaction. This ability becomes increasingly valuable in a world addicted to instant gratification. Patience also protects people from emotional decision-making. Many failures happen because individuals react impulsively to temporary emotions. Fear causes people to quit too early. Excitement causes reckless decisions. Frustration creates inconsistency. But patient individuals develop emotional steadiness. They understand that progress is rarely linear. Some seasons produce visible rewards, while other seasons simply build resilience, wisdom, and preparation for future opportunities. One of the greatest strengths of patient people is their ability to continue even when recognition is absent. Many individuals depend on external validation to stay motivated. If applause disappears, effort disappears too. But successful people often spend years working quietly before receiving acknowledgement. They remain committed because their focus is deeper than public approval. They trust the process even when results cannot yet be seen. Patience creates clarity, while impatience creates pressure. Impatient people often rush into poor decisions because they feel desperate for immediate success. They chase shortcuts, trends, and quick rewards. This frequently leads to instability because anything built without a strong foundation becomes fragile under pressure. Patient individuals think differently. They focus on building skills, habits, relationships, and knowledge slowly but consistently. Over time, this creates stability that lasts far longer than temporary success built through urgency alone. The world often celebrates visible victories without understanding the invisible years behind them. Every strong leader, skilled creator, successful entrepreneur, or respected professional usually spent long periods developing privately before becoming publicly recognized. The audience notices the moment of success, but rarely sees the years of preparation, discipline, sacrifice, and failure that created it. Patience allows individuals to survive those invisible seasons where growth feels slow but important transformation is quietly taking place. Another reason patience becomes a hidden advantage is because it reduces the need for constant comparison. People who expect instant success often compare themselves to others and feel discouraged when progress appears slower. But patient individuals understand that every meaningful journey unfolds differently. They focus less on competing with others and more on improving themselves steadily. This mindset protects emotional energy and allows deeper concentration on long-term goals. Patience also strengthens confidence. Not the loud confidence built on attention, but the quiet confidence built through endurance. Every time a person continues despite slow progress, they prove to themselves that they are capable of discipline and resilience. This internal trust becomes powerful because it creates stability during difficult seasons when motivation fades. The truth is that many people fail not because success was impossible, but because they became impatient during the process. They wanted visible rewards before invisible foundations were fully built. They underestimated how long meaningful transformation truly takes. But successful individuals understand something different. They know that time can either work against you or work for you depending on whether you remain committed long enough for growth to compound. Patience is powerful because it allows ordinary effort repeated consistently over time to create extraordinary results that impatient people never stay long enough to experience. Many people spend enormous amounts of energy trying to create the appearance of success without realizing that appearances alone rarely earn lasting respect. Modern culture constantly encourages people to focus on image, status, and visibility. Social media especially intensified this pressure by rewarding presentation more than substance. People now feel pushed to look successful before they have truly built anything meaningful. But over time, reality exposes the difference between appearance and achievement. Studies on leadership, influence, and professional credibility consistently show that long-term respect is earned through competence, consistency, and results, rather than external image alone. Appearances can attract attention temporarily, but results create trust. Anyone can speak confidently, wear expensive clothing, or present a polished image for a short period of time. But when challenges arise, only real ability produces lasting value. This is why many people who seem impressive initially eventually lose influence when their performance cannot support their image. The world may admire appearance briefly, but it depends on results when real problems need solutions. A person focused only on appearances often prioritizes validation over growth. They become more concerned with looking productive than becoming effective. They chase applause instead of mastery. This mindset creates weakness because attention becomes the goal rather than contribution. Over time, this leads to frustration because maintaining an image requires constant performance, while producing real results requires discipline, patience, and continuous improvement. Results speak with a power that appearances never can. A disciplined worker does not need to constantly announce their value because their consistency eventually becomes undeniable. A skilled leader gains respect through action, not through self-promotion alone. A person who repeatedly delivers under pressure naturally earns trust because results provide evidence of character, preparation, and reliability. This is why quiet achievers often become more respected over time than loud performers who rely mainly on attention. Research in organizational psychology repeatedly reveals that credibility grows strongest when people consistently align actions with promises. People naturally trust those who demonstrate reliability over time. Results show commitment. Results show competence. Results show endurance. Appearances, however, can easily be manipulated. A polished image may create first impressions, but only consistent performance creates long-term influence. One of the dangers of appearance-driven thinking is that it encourages shortcuts. Many people become obsessed with looking successful quickly because they fear being overlooked. This pressure leads individuals to exaggerate achievements, imitate lifestyles, or pursue recognition before developing true capability. But shortcuts often collapse under pressure because they are built without strong foundations. Results built through patience and discipline may take longer to appear, but they create stability that lasts. The strongest people often spend years building privately before becoming publicly recognized. During those unseen seasons, they focus on developing skills, strengthening discipline, and improving character while others chase immediate validation. This quiet preparation becomes powerful because when opportunity finally arrives, they are ready to perform at a high level consistently. The world respects results because results prove preparation. Another important truth is that results create freedom while appearances often create pressure. A person maintaining a false image must constantly protect it. They fear exposure because their confidence depends on perception rather than substance. But someone focused on genuine achievement develops confidence rooted in ability. Their self-respect grows because it is connected to effort, growth, and real accomplishment rather than temporary admiration. The business world, leadership, sports, education, and every area of life eventually reward results over image. Teams trust players who perform consistently under pressure. Companies value employees who solve problems effectively. Communities follow leaders who create impact rather than simply deliver impressive speeches. Over time, people remember contribution more than presentation because contribution changes lives, while appearance only influences perception temporarily. Modern society often confuses visibility with importance. Someone may receive attention online while lacking discipline privately. Another person may work quietly for years without recognition while building extraordinary skill and character. Eventually, however, consistent results separate real substance from performance. Time has a way of revealing truth because sustained achievement. Imment cannot be faked indefinitely. Results also inspire deeper respect because they require sacrifice. Behind every meaningful achievement are hours of preparation, moments of failure, disciplined habits, emotional resilience, and perseverance through discomfort. People admire results because results represent effort transformed into reality. They reflect character tested under pressure rather than image created for attention. At the end of the day, appearances may influence first impressions, but results determine lasting reputation. People may notice style, confidence, and presentation initially, but trust, respect, and influence are built through demonstrated value over time. The world listens briefly to appearances, but it follows those who consistently produce meaningful results through discipline, character, and action. One of the greatest differences between people who lead their lives and people who remain controlled by circumstances is the ability to delay gratification. Research in psychology and human behavior repeatedly shows that individuals capable of resisting immediate rewards often achieve greater long-term success in finances, leadership, relationships, education, and personal growth. This ability may appear simple on the surface, but it quietly shapes nearly every major outcome in life. Delayed gratification is not merely about patience. It is about self-control, vision, emotional discipline, and the willingness to sacrifice temporary pleasure for lasting purpose. Most people naturally move toward comfort. The human mind seeks quick rewards because immediate pleasure feels satisfying in the moment. This is why distractions are so powerful. Entertainment, impulsive spending, emotional decisions, and constant stimulation offer fast emotional relief. But leaders think differently. They understand that temporary comfort can become long-term limitation if it controls every decision. Instead of asking what feels good now, they ask what creates growth. With later, that shift changes the direction of an entire life. Followers are often driven by reaction. They respond emotionally to pressure, frustration, boredom, and comparison. If something feels difficult, they seek escape. If success takes time, they lose focus. If rewards are delayed, motivation disappears. But leaders train themselves to remain committed even when progress feels slow. They recognize that meaningful achievement rarely happens instantly. Great businesses, strong character, financial freedom, physical discipline, and lasting influence are all built gradually through repeated choices over time. Studies on delayed gratification consistently reveal that people who can control impulses tend to make stronger long-term decisions. They manage resources more wisely, maintain healthier routines, and persist longer during challenges. This happens because delayed gratification strengthens emotional discipline. Instead of being controlled by feelings, leaders learn to control their responses. They understand that emotions change quickly, while consequences often last much longer. The ability to delay gratification also creates independence. Many people become trapped because they constantly seek immediate pleasure without considering future impact. They spend money emotionally instead of strategically. They avoid discomfort even when discomfort could create growth. They choose entertainment over education and distraction over discipline. Over time, these repeated choices slowly weaken confidence, stability, and opportunity. Leaders, however, understand that freedom requires sacrifice. They are willing to endure temporary discomfort because they see the bigger picture beyond the present moment. Modern culture makes delayed gratification even more difficult. Everything today encourages instant satisfaction. Food arrives instantly. Entertainment streams endlessly. Social media delivers constant stimulation. Advertisements promote emotional spending and quick pleasure. As a result, many people lose the ability to remain focused during slow seasons of growth. They expect immediate recognition, immediate success, and immediate reward. But leadership requires endurance. It requires staying disciplined long enough for invisible effort to become visible achievement. One reason delayed gratification is so powerful is because it builds trust in yourself. Every time a person resists a distraction and chooses discipline instead, they strengthen self-respect. Every promise kept to yourself increases confidence because confidence grows through action, not words. Leaders often appear calm under pressure because they spent years developing internal discipline privately before anyone noticed externally. Delayed gratification also separates vision from impulse. Followers are controlled by what they want right now. Leaders are guided by what they want most. This difference is critical. Temporary desires constantly compete against long-term purpose. The ability to choose future rewards over present comfort becomes one of the strongest predictors of sustained success. Leaders understand that small disciplined actions repeated daily can completely transform a life over time. Another important truth is that delayed gratification creates stronger character. It teaches humility because growth takes time. It teaches resilience because setbacks are unavoidable. It teaches patience because meaningful results cannot always be rushed. These qualities become essential for leadership because people naturally trust individuals who demonstrate consistency, maturity, and emotional stability under pressure. Many of the most respected individuals in history endured years of sacrifice before achieving recognition. They studied while others relaxed. They practiced while others procrastinated. They built quietly while others searched for shortcuts. The public eventually noticed the results, but the hidden years of discipline were the true reasons access became possible. Delayed gratification allowed them to continue moving forward while impatient people gave up too early. The tragedy is that many people destroy their future trying to satisfy every temporary craving in the present. They trade long-term opportunity for short-term comfort without realizing how expensive those decisions become over time. Leaders understand something different. They know that every disciplined decision becomes an investment in future freedom. Delayed gratification separates leaders from followers because leaders are willing to sacrifice what feels easy today in order to build something meaningful that lasts tomorrow. Many people spend their lives trying to appear important instead of becoming impactful. They chase symbols of success, believing status will bring fulfillment, respect, and happiness. Expensive possessions, public attention, social recognition, and visible luxury become the goals that drive their decisions. But status is fragile because it depends heavily on perception. The moment attention fades or comparison begins, insecurity quickly returns. Rich thinking operates differently because it understands that true success is not measured by how impressive you look, but by how meaningful your contribution becomes. Studies on long-term fulfillment and leadership consistently reveal that people who focus on purpose, contribution, and impact experience greater satisfaction and influence than those obsessed mainly with image and status. Status-focused thinking is driven by comparison. A person constantly measures themselves against others, searching for signs that they are ahead, admired, or recognized. This creates emotional instability because there will always be someone wealthier, more popular, or more visible. Comparison becomes endless. Instead of building peace, status creates pressure. Many people trapped in this mindset begin making decisions emotionally rather than wisely. They spend money to impress strangers, sacrifice authenticity to gain approval, and pursue attention at the expense of growth. Impact-focused thinking changes everything because the goal becomes contribution instead of validation. A person with rich thinking asks different questions. Instead of asking, "How can I look successful?" they ask, "How can I create value that improves lives?" That shift transforms ambition into purpose. It moves energy away from performance and toward meaningful action. People focused on impact understand that real influence comes from solving problems, helping others grow, and leaving environments better than they found them. Research on leadership and fulfillment repeatedly shows that purpose-driven individuals often demonstrate greater resilience, creativity, and emotional stability. This happens because impact creates deeper motivation than status ever can. Status depends on external reaction, while impact is connected to internal meaning. A person driven only by recognition may lose direction when applause disappears. But someone focused on contribution continues building even during quiet seasons because their mission is bigger than public attention. One reason impact matters more than status is because status fades quickly, while contribution continues affecting people long after recognition disappears. Many individuals spend enormous energy building an image that eventually loses relevance. Trends change, public attention shifts, appearances age, but meaningful impact leaves lasting influence. A teacher shaping young minds, a leader inspiring courage, an entrepreneur solving real problems, or a disciplined parent building a strong family creates value that extends far beyond temporary admiration. Rich thinking also understands that value creates opportunity naturally. People trust individuals who consistently contribute something meaningful. Businesses grow when they solve problems effectively. Leaders earn loyalty when they serve people with integrity. Relationships deepen when genuine care replaces selfish ambition. Impact creates trust because it demonstrates substance rather than performance. This is why some people quietly build extraordinary influence without constantly demanding attention. Modern culture often confuses visibility with significance. Social media rewards appearance more than depth, encouraging people to display success publicly even when their private lives lack peace and direction. Many individuals now feel pressure to constantly prove their worth through status symbols, lifestyle displays, or online recognition. But this creates exhaustion because maintaining an image requires endless comparison and validation. Impact-focused people escape this trap because their confidence comes from contribution rather than perception. Another powerful truth is that impact requires patience and sacrifice. Building something meaningful takes time. It demands discipline during seasons where air recognition may be absent. Many people quit because they want visible rewards before invisible foundations are complete. But individuals with rich thinking understand that meaningful work compounds slowly. Small acts of consistency repeated over years can influence thousands of lives eventually. Quiet preparation often creates loud results later. Impact-focused individuals also develop stronger character because they are guided by values instead of vanity. They become more concerned with integrity than image, more focused on growth than applause, more committed to purpose than popularity. This creates stability because their identity is rooted internally rather than externally. They do not collapse under criticism as easily because their mission matters more than temporary opinions. The world may notice status temporarily, but it remembers impact permanently. People rarely remember someone simply because they look successful. They remember those who changed lives, created opportunities, inspired courage, solved problems, and built something meaningful that outlived personal recognition. True wealth is not merely having resources. True wealth is possessing the ability to create value that continues benefiting others long after your presence leaves the room. Rich thinking focuses on impact because impact creates legacy, while status only creates temporary attention that disappears when the spotlight moves somewhere else. Many people spend years searching for financial opportunities while ignoring the deeper issue limiting their progress. They believe money alone will transform their lives. Yet lasting financial change rarely begins with money itself. It begins with the way a person thinks. Studies in behavioral psychology and financial decision-making consistently show that beliefs, habits, emotional patterns, and mindset heavily influence long-term financial outcomes. Two people can receive the same opportunity and create completely different results because their thinking shapes how they respond to pressure, discipline, risk, and growth. This is why every financial breakthrough first begins as a mental breakthrough before it ever becomes visible externally. A limited mindset creates limited behavior. If someone constantly believes success is impossible, they often avoid risk, resist growth, and settle for survival instead of development. Their thinking shapes their decisions long before circumstances change. Fear causes hesitation. Insecurity creates self-doubt. Scarcity thinking produces emotional choices instead of strategic action. Many people remain financially stuck not because they lack potential, but because they continue thinking from the same mindset that created their current situation. Mindset determines what a person notices, pursues, and believes they deserve. A person with a growth-focused mindset sees challenges as opportunities to learn, while a defeated mindset sees challenges as proof to quit. This difference becomes powerful over time because success is rarely built through one decision alone. It is built through thousands of repeated choices shaped by perspective. Financial breakthroughs often happen after someone finally changes the way they think about responsibility, discipline, opportunity, and personal value. Research on human achievement repeatedly reveals that self-belief strongly influences persistence. People who believe growth is possible are more likely to continue learning, adapting, and improving during difficult seasons. This matters financially because building wealth often requires long periods of patience and consistent effort before visible rewards appear. Without the right mindset, many people quit too early because they expect immediate success instead of gradual progress. One of the biggest mindset shifts involves moving from consumption to creation. Poor thinking asks, "What can I buy to feel important?" Rich thinking asks, "What can I build that creates value?" This shift changes how people use money, time, and energy. Instead of spending emotionally to impress others, growth-focused individuals invest in skills, knowledge, relationships, and opportunities that create future freedom. They understand that wealth grows from value creation rather than appearance. Another powerful mindset breakthrough happens when a person stops blaming external circumstances for every limitation. While challenges are real, constantly living in victim mentality destroys personal power. Financial growth often begins the moment someone accepts responsibility for their habits, decisions, and future direction. Responsibility creates clarity because it shifts focus away from excuses and toward action. A person who takes ownership of their growth becomes far more capable of adapting and improving over time. Mindset also influences emotional discipline, which plays a major role in finance. Success. Many poor financial decisions are emotional before they become practical. Fear leads to hesitation. Impatience leads to reckless shortcuts. Envy leads to unnecessary spending. A breakthrough mindset develops emotional control by focusing on long-term vision instead of temporary feelings. This creates stability because disciplined thinking produces wiser decisions consistently. Modern culture often promotes the illusion that wealth is mainly about luck, connections, or appearance. Social media especially magnifies visible success while hiding the years of discipline behind it. Many people compare themselves to others without understanding the internal transformation that usually occurred before external achievement appeared. Successful individuals often change their habits, routines, beliefs, and thinking patterns long before their finances improved publicly. A mindset breakthrough also changes how people see failure. Instead of interpreting setbacks as proof of weakness, growth-focused individuals view mistakes as lessons. They understand that every successful person experiences rejection, disappointment, and obstacles. The difference is that resilient thinkers continue learning while defeated thinkers stop trying. This ability to adapt becomes one of the strongest advantages in financial growth, because persistence creates opportunities over time that quitting never will. Another important truth is that confidence grows through disciplined action, not wishful thinking. Many people wait to feel confident before taking action, but action itself creates confidence. Every skill learned, every habit improved, and every promise kept to yourself strengthens belief in your ability to grow. This internal confidence eventually changes how people communicate, lead, solve problems, and pursue opportunities. The strongest financial foundations are usually built privately before they become publicly visible. Before businesses grow, investments multiply, or careers advance, mindset already begins shaping behavior. The disciplined mornings, wiser decisions, focused learning, emotional maturity, and long-term thinking quietly prepare a person for greater responsibility. Financial breakthroughs often look sudden from the outside, but internally they usually began years earlier with a transformed mindset. Every lasting change in life begins when thinking changes first, because the mind shapes the habits, decisions that created it, and actions that eventually shape financial reality. Most people admire success without understanding the silence that created it. They see the victory, the recognition, the influence, and the results, but they rarely see the years of invisible preparation behind those moments. Studies on elite performers, athletes, entrepreneurs, and leaders consistently reveal that extraordinary achievement is usually built during long periods of disciplined effort away from public attention. Preparation becomes powerful because it allows growth to develop deeply before the world notices externally. Loud success is often nothing more than private consistency finally becoming visible. Modern culture encourages people to announce goals before building discipline. Many individuals feel pressure to constantly display progress, share plans, and seek validation before results exist. But true growth rarely happens in public applause. It happens in private decisions repeated consistently over time. The early mornings nobody celebrates. The hours spent learning when distractions feel easier. The sacrifices made without immediate reward. These quiet moments shape the foundation strong enough to support future success. One reason quiet preparation matters so much is because it develops character without dependence on attention. A person working only when others are watching often loses motivation when recognition disappears. But individuals committed to growth continue improving. Regardless of applause, their discipline becomes internal rather than performative. This creates stability because they are no longer controlled by external validation. They learn how to remain focused even during seasons where progress feels invisible. Research in psychology repeatedly shows that mastery is strongly connected to deliberate practice performed consistently over time. Great performers are not usually created through sudden inspiration alone. They are built through repetition, patience, and focused improvement. Quiet preparation allows people to strengthen skills deeply without the distraction of constant comparison or public pressure. While others chase attention, disciplined individuals quietly sharpen their abilities until opportunities eventually reveal their preparation. The strongest foundations in life are almost always built privately first. A tree grows roots underground before its height becomes visible. In the same way, successful people often spend years strengthening habits, emotional discipline, knowledge, and resilience before external success appears. Outsiders may call the breakthrough sudden, but those who prepared understand how much invisible effort created that moment. Quiet preparation also protects people from arrogance. Constant attention can create the illusion of progress without actual growth. Many individuals become more focused on appearing successful than becoming capable. But private discipline forces honesty because results eventually expose whether real work was done. Quiet preparation keeps the focus on development instead of performance. It teaches humility because growth requires patience and repetition rather than instant recognition. Another powerful truth is that silent growth builds confidence differently. Confidence built through attention is fragile because it depends on approval. Confidence built through preparation is stronger because it comes from evidence. Every difficult morning completed, every skill practiced, every challenge endured quietly strengthens self-belief. A prepared person enters opportunities with calmness because they trust the work already invested privately. Many people underestimate how much emotional strength is required to continue preparing without visible rewards. It is difficult to remain disciplined when nobody notices your effort. It is difficult to stay patient when success feels delayed. But this hidden season often separates those who eventually rise from those who quit too early. Quiet preparation trains endurance. It teaches people how to continue building even when results are slow. This resilience becomes a major advantage later because success often brings pressure that only prepared individuals can handle. History repeatedly shows that many respected leaders, creators, athletes, and entrepreneurs spent years developing in obscurity before becoming publicly recognized. During those hidden seas, they learned lessons failure taught them privately. They strengthened discipline while others searched for shortcuts. They invested in growth while others pursued immediate comfort. Their later success appeared loud only because their earlier preparation was silent. Quiet preparation also creates authenticity. A person who genuinely worked for their growth carries a different type of presence. They do not need to constantly prove themselves because preparation already created substance beneath the surface. Their words carry more weight because experience supports them. Their actions remain steadier under pressure because struggle already trained them privately before public challenges appeared. The world often celebrates visible outcomes while ignoring invisible habits. Yet habits shape destiny far more than occasional moments of inspiration. The consistent decisions made in private eventually become the opportunities experienced in public. Every disciplined action compounds slowly. Until one day the results become impossible to hide. Loud success may capture attention for a moment, but quiet preparation is what makes lasting success possible in the first place.